So let's start with how to send that voice note on LinkedIn. The first thing to note is you can only send them to first connections who have accepted your connection requests. As mentioned in our previous module about building LinkedIn profiles, your profile is absolutely critical to ensure people accept your connection request. So ensure you update your profile before sending voice notes. LinkedIn caps voice notes at 1 minute. So if you try to speak more than that, it will just cut you off. I actually love this feature as it stops us from being really long-winded. In general, we recommend to aim for 30 to 40 seconds, and later we'll show examples of what to say in such a short time. Now, at the time of filming this, you can only send voice messages from your mobile phone, not your desktop. So you also have to download the app on your phone. Now, once someone is connected with you, they fit your ideal customer profile, you should be sending them a voice note. So here's what it looks like when someone receives a LinkedIn voice note. It can definitely spark some curiosity, as you can see from my reply here. As mentioned earlier, being different can help you stand out. This is a screenshot from a head of sales and marketing I booked a meeting with, who said he had never received a voice note, but did receive hundreds of written pitches and spam. And that I've never received a voice note before is something I've heard from dozens of buyers. Now, of course, not every response is like this, but voice notes generally have a much higher reply rate as they show you're a human and not a LinkedIn bot. Here's a real life example of a voice note I sent to a VP of sales that generated a response and turned into an opportunity. Now, before I play this, although this got a meeting, this was not one of my best voice notes. It's longer than I recommended, it's over 40 seconds, and my tone is off, but it has the essential pillars. But I wanted to show you this one to emphasize that a voice note doesn't have to be perfect to book a meeting. And as we talked about in the videos module, perfection does not exist. Before listening to this voice note, if you haven't checked out our 5 pillars module, please do that, as here I'll break down how to use these 5 pillars in the context of a voice note. So here is the voice note. Hey Lauren, as I mentioned, it was about 6 weeks back, I think, the Sales Confidence Again event. I enjoyed your talk there, and especially some of the tips around kind of having a remote sales team and how to integrate them and make them feel part of a culture. We're all fully remote at Growth Genie, so there's some good tips there for me. I did actually mean to message you after the event, but I forgot. Just obviously things have been hectic. Sure, it's been the same for you. I received a few kind of follow-up messages. I think I was just essentially part of a cadence. I've got a few tips around how you could improve some of those kind of post-event messages. So if you'd be interested in hearing those, I'd be happy to send a few across. Okay, let's break down what I said. The observation is that I saw her speak at an event I attended, and I enjoyed her tips for managing remote employees, as I run a remote team myself. I call this tactic ego stroking, and in the buyer psychology module, I talked about this in terms of buyer pride. Everyone who posts content wants to be seen and heard, so complimenting their content is always a good strategy. But be sure to mention something specific in the content to show that you did actually read it, or in this case, listen to our speech. I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn from sellers saying, hey, I enjoy your content, but then they copy and paste a generic pitch. By mentioning something specific in the content, it shows that I'm not one of those annoying people. Now, no message is perfect, so what I didn't like listening back was my tone. It was very low energy and sounded like I was having a bad day. Maybe my coffee was wearing off at that point. So at the end of this video, I'll give you some tips for better tone, which I need to listen to myself here. And also I mentioned I meant to connect with you sooner, which was fluff, and I could have deleted that part to make it nearer to 30 seconds. Now for the next pillars, the pain points. Her sales team had sent me follow-ups trying to book a meeting with me as they had sponsored the event, but their messages were really poor and did not incorporate anything you'll learn in this course. And then for the solution to that challenge, I said I'd be happy to send her feedback about how I could improve the messaging. I could have done some showing instead of telling here and given a tip like, your team are using way too much we and us language and should be using more you language in their outreach. But the important part here is that I use the rule of reciprocity we discussed in the email module. I didn't say, do you have 15 minutes or do you want to learn more about our sales training services? I offered value by saying I can give free feedback on the messaging of your sales team. So that's the main reason I believe Lauren responded, as you can see from her message here. Now, on the screen, you'll see a recap of our pillars. And now just remember to get these into 30 to 40 seconds. If you go over by 5 to 10 seconds, like I did with my message, it's not a big deal, but generally 40 seconds is a good benchmark for you. Record a voice note for a first connection on LinkedIn using the mobile app.